Lily's world was a symphony of sounds, textures, and scents, meticulously mapped by a mind that had never known sight. From birth, a genetic quirk had painted her reality in an array of other senses, sharpening them to an almost supernatural degree. The gentle rustle of leaves in the morning breeze was a whispered greeting. The warm, coarse bark of the oak tree in her front yard, a familiar friend. The scent of dew-kissed grass and freshly brewed coffee drifting from Mrs. Henderson's kitchen next door marked the start of another day. Her guide, her shadow, her unblinking eyes on four paws, was Buster, a magnificent golden retriever. Buster was more than just a service dog. He was her confidant, her protector, and the four-legged beat of her heart. His fur, a luxurious blend of cream and gold, was always impeccably groomed, a testament to Lily's diligent care. His presence was a comforting weight beside her, his soft, rhythmic breathing a constant lullaby. When Buster was tethered to her, the world, for all its unseen obstacles, felt conquerable. Their small, two-story house nestled on the edge of Willow Creek, a quaint neighborhood where time seemed to slow, where neighbors knew each other by name, and porch swings were still a common sight. Lily had inherited the house from her grandmother, a woman who had taught her independence, not as a burden, but as a superpower. Your other senses are gifts, Lilybug, Grandma Evelyn used to say, her voice raspy with age but brimming with wisdom. Don't let anyone tell you they're less than sight. They're just different. And Lily had embraced that philosophy. She navigated her home with an intuitive grace. Each piece of furniture, every framed photograph a tactile memory. She cooked. She gardened. She even dabbled in pottery, her hands shaping clay with an artistry that many sighted individuals admired. Her life was full, vibrant, and fiercely independent. Their morning ritual was sacred. After a light breakfast of oatmeal and berries, Buster would nudge her hand with his wet nose, an unspoken invitation for their walk. Lily would fasten his harness, the familiar click of the buckle, a cue for Buster to stand at attention, his tail giving a quiet, anticipatory thump against the floorboards. Today was no different. The air was crisp, carrying the faint scent of honeysuckle from Mrs. Henderson's sprawling garden as they stepped out. The gentle warmth of the morning sun on her face was a welcome embrace. Buster led her with practiced ease, his gait steady and confident. Each subtle pull of his harness communicated vital information: a curb approaching, a lamppost to avoid, a small puddle to navigate around. He was her constant interpreter of the visual world, translating its complexities into tangible cues. Their destination was Willow Creek Park, a sprawling green expanse at the heart of their community. It was a place of laughter and echoes, of children playing and elderly couples enjoying the quiet solitude. Lily loved the park. She could hear the distinct chirping of various birds, the murmur of conversations, the distant splash of a fountain. Sometimes she would sit on a park bench, her hand resting on Buster's head, simply absorbing the ambient symphony of life as they walked. The familiar rhythm of their journey was interrupted by something subtle, a shift in the usual auditory landscape. The distant, friendly chatter of Officer Thompson, the usual patrol officer for their neighborhood, was absent instead. There was a different engine hum, a deeper, more imposing rumble, and then the faint, distinct sound of heavy, deliberate footsteps on the pavement. Buster, usually unflappable, seemed to stiffen slightly beside her. His ears swiveled, subtly tracking the new sound. Lily felt a flicker of unease. It wasn't the usual comfortable presence of their local police. Officer Thompson was a jovial man, always ready with a kind word and a gentle pat for Buster. This new presence felt colder, more rigid, as they neared the intersection of Maple Street and Elm Avenue, a spot where they always paused for the traffic signal. The feeling intensified. The air, already crisp, seemed to carry a strange tension. Lily gripped Buster's harness a little tighter. "Easy, boy," she murmured, more to herself than to him. Buster responded with a soft nudge of his head against her hip, a comforting reassurance. They stopped at the corner, Buster settling into his practiced wait command. Lily could hear the distant whoosh of cars, but the crosswalk signal hadn't chirped yet, so they remained still. It was then that she heard it more clearly, the heavy boots. They sounded closer now, accompanied by the low thrum of a patrol car engine that seemed to hover. Rather than pass by, suddenly, a voice, harsh and unfamiliar, sliced through the morning quiet. It was deep, gravelly, and laced with an edge of impatience. "Hey, you the girl with the dog." Lily's heart gave an involuntary lurch. She tightened her grip on Buster's harness, a wave of confusion washing over her. No one in Willow Creek ever addressed her like that. She turned her head slightly in the direction of the voice. Her brow furrowed. "Excuse me," she asked, her voice clear despite the tremor of unease. "Are you speaking to me? Who else would I be talking to?" "Missy," the voice retorted. Closer now. The sound of heavy footsteps rapidly approaching made her instinctively pull back, Buster shifting protectively in front of her. "Don't play dumb. I've been watching you." A chill snaked down Lily's spine. Watching her for what she had done nothing wrong. She relied on routine, on rules, on the predictable rhythm of her meticulously planned life. I don't understand," Lily stammered, her voice now a little shaky. "We're just waiting for the crosswalk signal. My dog is a trained service animal." She felt a surge of fear, a primal instinct she rarely experienced. This was not Officer Thompson. This was something entirely different. The man's aura radiated anger, suspicion, and an unnerving sense of authority that felt entirely misplaced. She could almost feel the heat of his gaze, even though she couldn't see it. Buster, sensing her distress, let out a low, protective growl deep in his chest. It was a warning, a subtle rumbling sound that spoke of loyalty and a readiness to defend. It wasn't aggressive. Not yet. It was simply a manifestation of his unwavering dedication to Lily's safety. "Oh, a trained service animal? Huh," the voice sneered, the words dripping with disdain. "Looks like a public nuisance to me. You nearly walked right into traffic back there. Reckless. That's what it is. And that dog of yours is clearly out of control." Lily was stunned. Nearly walked into traffic, Buster had guided her perfectly, as he always did. And Buster. Out of control. The accusation was absurd. He was the epitome of discipline and obedience. "That's not true," Lily protested, her voice gaining strength, fueled by indignation. "My dog is perfectly behaved. He saved my life countless times. We were waiting at the crosswalk, just as we always do." The officer scoffed. "Don't try to lie your way out of it. Girl, I saw you, and that dog just growled at a police officer. That's a direct threat. I could have him impounded." The word impounded hit Lily like a physical blow. Her mind reeled. Buster, taken away. It was an unbearable thought. He was her lifeline, her shadow, her most cherished companion. Without him, her carefully constructed world would crumble into a terrifying abyss of uncertainty and isolation. She could hear the man's heavy breathing now, closer than ever. He smelled faintly of stale coffee and something else, something metallic and sharp, like old sweat and authority. Her instincts screamed danger. "Sir, please," Lily pleaded, her voice cracking slightly. "There's been a mistake. We didn't do anything wrong. Buster is just protecting me. He's a gentle dog." But her words seemed to fall on deaf ears, or perhaps they only fueled the officer's strange, irrational anger. Lily felt a sudden, aggressive tug on Buster's harness, a force so unexpected it nearly pulled her off balance. She stumbled, her cane clattering to the pavement beside her. "Let go!" she cried out, trying to regain her footing. "Don't touch him." But it was too late. The officer's grip tightened, and she heard Buster let out a yelp of surprise and pain. A sharp, sickening thud followed, and Lily knew, with a horrifying certainty, that the officer had struck Buster. A wave of ice-cold dread washed over her. This wasn't just an accusation anymore. This was an attack, and it was happening right here, in the quiet. Familiar streets of Willow Creek, Lily's cry of protest was swallowed by the sudden chaos. The familiar ground beneath her feet seemed to tilt as she lost her balance, her cane skittering away with a sharp clatter. Disoriented and vulnerable, she was left grappling in the empty air, her hands flailing for a moment before they instinctively reached for Buster. But the officer's grip on his harness was firm, unyielding. "Get your hands off him," Lily screamed, a raw, primal sound torn from her throat. Panic, cold and sharp, seized her. She could hear Buster's distressed whines, a sound that ripped at her heart, followed by another sickening thud. The officer was hitting him again. "Stop resisting, you little menace," Officer Miller snarled, his voice a low growl now, closer than before. Lily could feel the vibrations of his heavy breathing, the faint scent of something acrid, like old sweat and stale rage. This dog is out of control. He attacked an officer. He did no such thing, Lily shrieked, tears blurring what she couldn't see. "He's a service dog. He's trained. You're hurting him." Her fingers scrabbled blindly, desperately trying to find the officer's arm, to pull him away, to protect her beloved companion. But her efforts were futile. The officer was bigger, stronger, his movements brutal and precise. Buster, ever loyal, let out a louder, more pained yelp. Lily felt a sudden, violent yank on the harness, and she heard Buster's paws scrabbling on the pavement, a terrible sound of struggle. It was clear he was being pulled away, perhaps even dragged. The silence that followed, broken only by Buster's strained breathing and the officer's grunts of exertion, was horrifying. Lily was left alone, standing on the sidewalk, utterly blind and abandoned, her heart pounding a frantic drum against her ribs. She extended her hands, calling out, "Buster, Buster, where are you?" A new sound reached her ears then, a faint murmur that slowly grew into a chorus of shocked gasps and hushed whispers. People. There were people watching. She could hear the distinct clicks and whirs of phone cameras. "Hey, what are you doing?" A woman's voice, tentative at first, then gaining strength, cut through the tension. "Leave the dog alone," another voice, deeper, followed. "She's blind." For crying out loud, a third voice exclaimed, laced with outrage. Lily turned her head towards the voices, a sliver of desperate hope piercing through her fear. Maybe they could help. Maybe they could make him stop. Officer Miller's voice, suddenly calmer, though still laced with a menacing edge, cut through the growing clamor. "Step back. Folks, this is a police matter. This dog is dangerous and attacked me. The girl was jaywalking. She was not jaywalking, the woman's voice from before retorted. Closer now. We saw her. She was waiting for the light. Lily could hear the rustle of clothing, the shuffle of feet, as people drew closer, their indignation palpable. She imagined them standing there, eyes wide with disbelief, phones raised, capturing this grotesque display of authority gone rogue. "You're obstructing an officer," Miller barked, his voice rising again. "Anyone interfering will be arrested." Despite the threat, the murmurs didn't cease. Instead, they grew louder, bolder. Lily could distinguish individual words now: disgraceful, bully, unacceptable. A fragile shield of public opinion was forming around her, a faint hope against the oppressive darkness. Buster's whines had subsided into a series of soft whimpers, indicating he was no longer struggling but was still in distress. Lily imagined him cowering, frightened and confused, his gentle spirit bruised by this unwarranted aggression. The thought brought fresh tears to her eyes. "Just leave her alone." Officer, another voice, a man's this time, boomed with surprising force. "She's clearly distressed. And that dog is no threat to anyone." Lily felt a gentle hand on her arm, a soft, comforting touch. "Are you okay, honey?" A kind female voice whispered beside her. "We saw what happened. It's absolutely terrible." Lily nodded, tears streaming down her face, though she couldn't see the woman. He hit Buster," she choked out, her voice raw with emotion. "He just attacked us for no reason." "We know, dear," the woman said, her voice filled with sympathy. "We're recording everything. Don't worry." Officer Miller, apparently unnerved by the growing crowd and the chorus of accusations, changed tactics. He released Buster's harness, but not before giving it one last, vicious tug that sent a fresh whimper through the dog. Lily heard Buster shuffle closer to her, his head nudging her hand, a soft, trembling presence against her leg. Relief, profound and immediate, washed over her, even as fear lingered. He was still here. He was hurt, but he was with her. "This isn't over, Missy." Miller spat, his voice low and menacing, clearly intended for Lily alone. "I'm letting you off with a warning this time, but I'll be watching you. And that dog." The threat was clear, heavy with unspoken implications. Then, Lily heard his heavy footsteps retreat, followed by the slam of a car door and the powerful roar of an engine. The patrol car sped away, leaving an acrid smell of burning rubber and a lingering silence in its wake. The crowd erupted immediately. Questions, exclamations of outrage, and offers of help flooded around Lily. "Are you all right?" Dear, the kind woman beside her asked again, her voice brimming with concern. "Let me help you find your cane." Another voice, a man's, cut through the noise, authoritative and calm. "Miss, my name is Marcus Thorne. I'm a journalist. I was parked right here. And my dash cam caught everything, every single second." Lily's head snapped towards the voice, a journalist and a dash cam. A spark of something beyond mere relief ignited within her. Hope. Real, tangible hope. "Really?" she whispered, her voice still hoarse. "Yes, really," Marcus Thorne confirmed, his voice solid and reassuring. "I have it all, unedited. He didn't even see my van. And I've got multiple eyewitnesses." The kind woman found Lily's cane and gently placed it in her hand. Lily instinctively ran her fingers over Buster's head, feeling for any injuries. His breathing was still shallow, his muscles tense, but there was no obvious sign of blood or broken bones. A wave of profound gratitude washed over her. He was okay. He was alive. Thank you, Lily said, her voice gaining strength, directed at Marcus Thorne. Thank you so much. I don't know what I would have done. Don't worry about it. Miss, Marcus replied, what that officer did was completely out of line. Disgusting. Frankly, are you up for giving me a statement? We need to get this out there. This can't stand. Lily nodded without hesitation. Yes. I want everyone to know what he did. No one should have to go through something like this, especially not because of someone like him. Her voice, though still trembling, was firm with newfound resolve. The fear was still there, a knot in her stomach, but it was now overshadowed by a powerful surge of righteous anger. This man, Officer Miller, could not be allowed to get away with this, not when he had attacked her, and more importantly, had attacked Buster, her gentle, loyal companion. The crowd began to disperse, but several individuals stayed behind, offering their contact information as witnesses. Lily felt a surge of warmth from their support, a stark contrast to the cold brutality of the officer. She knew, then, that she wasn't alone. The community, her community, was with her. And now, so was a journalist with undeniable proof. The aftermath of the encounter felt surreal, a jarring shift from the quiet peace of a morning stroll to the echoing shock of an attack. Lily, still trembling, leaned heavily on her cane. Buster pressed close against her leg, his body still rigid with residual fear. Marcus Thorne, the journalist, proved to be a whirlwind of focused energy, his calm demeanor a stark contrast to the internal turmoil Lily felt. Let's get you somewhere comfortable, miss, Marcus suggested, his voice empathetic but firm. There's a small coffee shop just a block away. We can talk there. Lily nodded, grateful for his practical approach. The kind woman who had initially offered comfort, a Mrs. Gable, whom Lily vaguely recognized from community events, gently helped her navigate the short distance. Buster, despite his earlier trauma, resumed his professional role, guiding Lily with practiced precision, his pace slower, more deliberate, as if sensing her fragile state. Inside, the cozy aroma of brewing coffee and warm pastries, the soft hum of conversation was a welcome balm. Marcus found them a quiet corner booth. Away from the main bustle, Mrs. Gable insisted on getting them all drinks, returning with a steaming mug of chamomile tea for Lily, a black coffee for Marcus, and a bowl of water for Buster, which the golden retriever gratefully lapped up. All right, Miss, Marcus began, pulling out a small recorder and placing it on the table between them. My name is Marcus Thorne. I work for Truth Watch Investigations, an independent online news platform. We specialize in holding power accountable. And what I just witnessed, that was an egregious abuse of power. Lily took a deep, shaky breath, the warmth of the tea seeping into her cold hands. My name is Lily Chen, she managed, her voice still a little hoarse, and that was Officer Miller. I've never seen him before. Usually, it's Officer Thompson on this beat. Marcus nodded, his pen scratching quietly on a notepad. Officer Miller. Got it. And you're certain you were waiting at the crosswalk, following all signals? Absolutely, Lily affirmed, her voice gaining strength as indignation replaced fear. Buster is trained to stop at every curb and wait for the auditory signal. He's never made a mistake. Never. We were standing there, completely still. When that officer screeched to a halt beside us, she recounted the entire incident, the baseless accusations, the sudden, violent lunge at Buster, the terrifying sound of her cane hitting the pavement, and the sickening thuds as Officer Miller struck her loyal dog. Her voice trembled as she described Buster's whimpers of pain, the sheer terror of being blind and helpless while her protector was attacked. Marcus listened intently, interjecting only with clarifying questions. You mentioned he threatened to impound Buster. Did he give a reason? He said Buster was dangerous and out of control and had attacked him, Lily explained, a bitter laugh escaping her lips. Buster wouldn't hurt a fly, he barked. Yes, because he was scared for me. He pulled back when the officer grabbed his harness. That's not an attack. That's self-preservation. And he was protecting me. And then he said he'd be watching you. Marcus pressed. Yes, Lily confirmed, a shiver running down her spine at the memory of Miller's menacing tone. He said, This isn't over. Missy, I'm letting you off with a warning this time, but I'll be watching you. And that dog, Marcus's jaw tightened. That's a clear threat. And it only adds to his pattern of aggressive behavior. He paused, then continued, his voice serious. Lily, I have a clear, unedited video of the entire incident from my dash cam. It shows him pulling up, immediately getting aggressive, him lunging at Buster, hitting him, and you trying to shield your dog. It's damning. And I've already backed it up to a secure cloud server. Lily felt a surge of profound relief so strong it almost buckled her knees. Thank God, she whispered, tears welling in her eyes again. But this time, they were tears of gratitude. Thank you, Marcus. Truly. It's my job, Lily, he said. But his tone was genuinely kind. And it's the right thing to do. This kind of abuse of power, especially against a vulnerable individual and a service animal, needs to be exposed. I'll also get statements from Mrs. Gable here, and any other witnesses who stuck around. Mrs. Gable chimed in, her voice firm. You can count on me. Young man, I saw it all. He was absolutely brutal, and that poor dog Lily and Buster are the sweetest pair. Everyone in Willow Creek knows that. Marcus then outlined his plan. He would immediately upload the raw footage to Truthwatch Investigations and distribute it to major news outlets. He would include Lily's detailed statement and collect statements from other witnesses. He stressed the importance of public pressure once this hits the internet, especially with the raw footage. It's going to go viral, Marcus predicted, his voice calm and confident. The police department will be forced to respond. They can't sweep this under the rug. Lily listened, a sense of empowerment slowly beginning to replace the helplessness she had felt minutes ago. This wasn't just about her anymore. This was about holding someone accountable. This was about justice. As they finished their conversation, Buster, who had been resting his head on Lily's lap, let out a soft sigh and then gently nudged her hand. Lily reached down and scratched behind his ears, feeling his warm, soft fur. His tail gave a tentative thump. He was starting to relax. He's a very good boy, Marcus observed, a rare, soft smile gracing his lips as he watched the interaction. Remarkable. Really? Most dogs would have reacted far more aggressively to being struck like that. He's my best friend, Lily said simply, her voice filled with an unwavering love. And he's family. Later that afternoon, after Marcus had gathered additional witness statements and assured Lily he would keep her updated every step of the way, Lily returned home, the quiet house feeling strangely different. The earlier peace had been shattered, replaced by a tense anticipation. She checked Buster carefully, running her hands over every inch of his body. He winced slightly when she touched his ribs on one side, and she felt a small, tender bruise beginning to form. Her heart ached for him. She applied a cold compress and sat with him, stroking his fur, whispering reassurances. He rested his head on her lap, his soft breaths a comfort in the stillness of the room. The next few hours were a blur of nervous waiting. Lily imagined the video circulating, people's reactions. She knew it would be painful to have her vulnerability exposed to the world. But the alternative, allowing Officer Miller to get away with his cruelty, was far worse. As evening approached, her phone, which she kept on a voice-activated setting, buzzed. It was Marcus. "Lily, it's out," he announced, his voice crackling with excitement. "The video is live on Truthwatch, and we've sent it to all major news networks. It's already generating massive traction. Comments are pouring in. People are outraged." Lily's breath hitched. "And the police department?" "No official statement yet." Marcus replied, "But they will have to. This isn't something they can ignore. It's trending. Get ready. Lily, your story is about to be everywhere." A strange mix of dread and exhilaration coursed through her. Dread for the impending media storm, the exposure, the potential backlash, but exhilaration for the possibility of justice, for holding Officer Miller accountable. This wasn't just a personal injustice anymore. It was becoming a symbol, a beacon for others who had suffered in silence that night. Lily found it hard to sleep. Her senses, usually a source of comfort, now felt heightened, almost overwhelming. Every rustle outside, every distant siren, sent a jolt of anxiety through her. Buster, sensing her unrest, curled tightly against her, his warm body a familiar anchor in the tumultuous emotional landscape. She lay there, listening to the rhythmic beat of his heart, and for the first time in a long time, she wondered what tomorrow would bring. But unlike the terror of the morning, this uncertainty was tinged with a nascent hope. The world was about to see the truth. The next morning, Lily woke to a world ablaze with her story. Even without sight, she could feel the intense hum of it, a reverberation in the very air. Her phone, which she had placed beside her bed, buzzed almost continuously. It was Marcus, calling to prepare her for the onslaught. "Lily, it's exploded," he stated, his voice a mix of awe and satisfaction. "The video of Officer Miller attacking Buster and you. It's everywhere. Every major news network is running it. Social media is in an absolute frenzy." Lily swallowed, a knot forming in her stomach. This was it. The moment of truth. "What are they saying?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. "Outrage," Marcus declared. "Universal outrage. People are furious. They're calling for Miller's immediate suspension, an investigation, and accountability. There are even calls for a larger inquiry into police conduct in the community." He paused, then added, "Your bravery, Lily, in speaking out, and Buster's loyalty are really resonating with people. You're becoming a symbol." The word symbol felt strange on her tongue, heavy with an unexpected weight. She was just Lily, a blind woman who loved her dog. Yet, she understood. This wasn't just about her anymore. It was about something bigger, true to Marcus's word. The public outcry was immediate and overwhelming. Lily's voicemail filled with messages of support from strangers, community leaders, and even disability advocates she'd never known. Her local radio station, usually playing soft rock and community announcements, was now abuzz with discussions about the incident, callers expressing disgust and solidarity. The internet, a world Lily accessed primarily through audio interfaces, came alive in ways she could only imagine. Marcus later described the furious online storm the video, viewed millions of times, dissected frame by frame, every lunge, every strike, Officer Miller's sneering face, Buster's pained whimpers, all laid bare for the world to see. Hashtags like Scud Justice for Lily and Buster and Chaco Blind Trust Betrayed trended globally. Pet advocacy groups, disability rights organizations, and civil liberties unions all issued scathing condemnations. Local news channels sent reporters to Willow Creek, Lily's quiet street, once a haven of tranquility, was now occasionally punctuated by the murmuring voices of journalists and the whirring of news cameras. Mrs. Henderson, Lily's kind neighbor, acted as a gatekeeper, gently fending off persistent reporters, ensuring Lily's privacy was maintained while relaying messages of support. The pressure on the Willow Creek Police Department was immense. They couldn't ignore it. The sheer volume of angry phone calls, emails, and social media posts made inaction impossible, within hours of the video going viral. The department issued its initial response. Lily heard it first on a national news broadcast that Marcus had tuned into for her, the police chief. A stern-sounding man named Chief Thompson, no relation to the kindly Officer Thompson, delivered a carefully worded statement. The Willow Creek Police Department is aware of a video circulating online regarding an incident involving one of our officers, Officer John Miller, and a visually impaired resident with her service animal. Chief Thompson's voice boomed, devoid of any real emotion. We take all allegations of misconduct very seriously. An internal review has been initiated to ascertain the facts surrounding this unfortunate event. Officer Miller has been placed on administrative leave, pending the outcome of this review. The chief's statement then shifted, attempting to defend Miller's actions. However subtly, it is important to remember that police officers often face unpredictable and dangerous situations. They are trained to prioritize public safety. While we regret any distress caused, we must also consider the officer's perspective and the need to maintain order. Lily scoffed, a bitter taste in her mouth. Unpredictable and dangerous situation, she murmured to Buster, who was curled at her feet. He created the danger. And what about my perspective? Marcus's voice, coming through the phone again, echoed her sentiments. See that. Lily Classic Damage Control. Administrative leave is a slap on the wrist, and considering the officer's perspective is code for trying to excuse his behavior. It's an insult to everyone who watched that video. And indeed, the department's attempt at damage control backfired spectacularly. The public saw through the thinly veiled excuses. Social media users exploded with renewed fury. Online commentators dissecting the statement pointed out the glaring omissions: no apology to Lily, no acknowledgement of Buster's role as a service animal, no genuine expression of remorse. The vague language only fueled suspicion and deepened the public's distrust. They're not going to get away with this, Marcus vowed, his voice tight with determination. This isn't going to be swept under the rug, not with this much evidence and public outrage. Lily spent the next few days in a strange limbo. Her world, usually so confined and predictable, had expanded exponentially, becoming the focal point of a national conversation. She gave more interviews, always with Marcus by her side, carefully articulating her experience, reiterating the facts, and emphasizing Buster's gentle nature. Each time, she felt a surge of strength, a growing resolve to see this through to the end. She also took Buster for regular checkups with the vet. Dr. Evans, their family veterinarian, confirmed a deep bruise on Buster's side, consistent with a forceful impact. But thankfully, no broken bones or internal injuries. The emotional trauma. However, was harder to gauge. Buster was more withdrawn, flinching at sudden movements or loud noises, a stark contrast to his usual unflappable demeanor. Lily spent hours comforting him, reminding him he was safe, stroking his fur, and speaking in soft, reassuring tones, their bond, already unbreakable, deepened in the crucible of shared trauma. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, the internal review within the police department began. But it wasn't the quiet, bureaucratic affair the department had hoped for. The sheer volume of public complaints, combined with the relentless pressure from Marcus Thorne's Truth Watch investigations, meant the review had to be more than just a formality, to the surprise of many. The investigation was assigned to Detective Sarah Jenkins. Detective Jenkins was known within the force as a sharp, incorruptible officer, meticulous in her work and fiercely dedicated to justice. She had a reputation for fairness, but also for an uncompromising pursuit of the truth, regardless of who it implicated. She was an anomaly in a department where loyalty sometimes superseded integrity. When Detective Jenkins first watched the dashcam footage provided by Marcus Thorne, she felt a cold knot of dread form in her stomach. It was worse than the public descriptions. The officer's sheer brutality, the blind woman's helplessness, the service dog's pained cries, it was all there, undeniable and sickening. She immediately knew this wasn't going to be a simple misunderstanding or isolated incident. This was something far more sinister. As she began her preliminary interviews, Officer Miller remained defiant, sticking to his story of an aggressive dog and a jaywalking pedestrian. But his arrogance only fueled Detective Jenkins's suspicion. She noticed inconsistencies in his timeline, a peculiar twitch in his eye when she pressed him on specific details. His body language screamed deception. Detective Jenkins, however, was not just investigating Officer Miller. She was investigating the possibility of a systemic issue. She pulled Miller's personnel file, looking for past complaints, disciplinary actions, anything that might indicate a pattern. What she found? Buried deep within layers of bureaucracy and sealed records, would begin to unravel a dark secret, a truth the Willow Creek Police Department had desperately tried to keep hidden. The initial response from the department was just the tip of a much larger, more polluted iceberg, and Detective Jenkins was determined to melt it. Detective Sarah Jenkins was a woman of quiet intensity. Her office, unlike the cluttered desks of many of her colleagues, was meticulously organized, a reflection of her methodical mind. Files were stacked neatly, pens aligned, and her computer screen displayed only the most relevant documents. But beneath that calm exterior lay a fierce dedication to truth, honed by years of navigating the murky waters of human deception. The video of Officer Miller was not just another case file. It was a personal affront to her sense of justice and the integrity of the badge she wore. She began by meticulously reviewing Officer Miller's personnel file, a thick dossier spanning nearly a decade. On the surface, his record appeared clean. Commendations for minor arrests, consistent performance reviews. But Jenkins knew better. In police departments, especially smaller ones like Willow Creek, trouble wasn't always recorded. It was often buried. Her instincts screamed that Miller's aggression in the video wasn't an isolated incident. People didn't just snap like that without a history. She started cross-referencing his patrol routes with public complaints, even minor ones. Most were dismissed as unsubstantiated, but a pattern began to emerge. There were several complaints, nearly identical in nature to Lily's, where individuals, often those perceived as vulnerable, the homeless, teenagers, or those with mental health issues, alleged unprovoked aggression, excessive force, or baseless accusations each time. The complaints had been quietly resolved or simply vanished into the bureaucratic ether. One case, in particular, caught her eye. It was from 2 years prior. A redacted report detailing an incident involving a deaf teenager named Mateo Rodriguez. Mateo, like Lily, had been minding his own business, walking home from school, when Officer Miller had allegedly stopped him, claiming he was trespassing. The report stated Mateo had resisted arrest, leading to a minor injury. But the details were sparse, and the case had been quickly closed. Jenkins felt a prickle of intuition. She remembered Mateo, a quiet, polite boy. The idea of him resisting an officer seemed entirely out of character. She decided to revisit the case, pulling the original incident report, the medical records, and any eyewitness statements that might still exist. It was like pulling a loose thread, hoping the whole garment wouldn't unravel, but fearing it might. Her investigation soon led her to interview officers who had worked alongside Miller. Most offered non-committal answers, praising him vaguely or deferring. But one officer, a young patrolman named Officer Ramirez, seemed unusually hesitant. He avoided eye contact. His answers brief and evasive. Jenkins, a master at reading subtle cues, sensed he was holding something back. She invited Ramirez to her office, not for an official interview, but for an informal chat. She offered him coffee, spoke about the challenges of the job, and subtly steered the conversation towards the Miller incident. "Look, Officer Ramirez," she began, her voice low and non-judgmental. "What happened to Lily Chen and her service dog was horrific. It's a stain on this department. And it's not the first time Miller's name has come up in connection with aggressive behavior. I'm looking for the truth. Whatever it is." Ramirez shifted uncomfortably in his chair. He ran a hand through his hair, his gaze fixed on a spot on the wall behind Jenkins's head. "Miller, he's got a temper," he mumbled, almost inaudibly. "And he's got connections." "Connections." Jenkins pressed gently. Ramirez hesitated, then spoke in a rush, as if the words had been dammed up for too long. "He's cousins with Captain Davies, and Captain Davies is tight with the chief. Miller knows he's untouchable." Jenkins's eyes narrowed. Captain Davies was a powerful figure within the department, a man known for his ambition and his fierce loyalty to his inner circle. This explained a lot. It explained the hushed-up complaints, the quick dismissals. "Tell me about Mateo Rodriguez," Jenkins urged, sensing she was on the verge of a breakthrough. "Did you know about that incident?" Ramirez visibly flinched. He took a deep breath. I was there," he admitted, his voice barely a whisper. "Not directly involved, but I was on patrol in the area. I saw it. Mateo wasn't doing anything. Miller just cornered him, accused him of vandalism. Mateo was signing, trying to explain, but Miller just wouldn't listen. He got rough, really rough, and then he said Mateo resisted, and they just covered it up." "Covered it up how?" Jenkins asked, her voice steady despite the rising anger she felt. "They made Mateo's parents sign a non-disclosure agreement," Ramirez revealed, his eyes finally meeting hers, filled with a mixture of shame and relief. Said if they pressed charges, they'd make sure Mateo got into trouble for resisting, and they put pressure on the responding officers to write up a report that minimized Miller's actions, said it was for department cohesion. This was it, the dark secret. The pattern of misconduct wasn't just Miller's, it was enabled, perhaps even orchestrated, by higher-ups. "Do you have any proof of this?" Jenkins inquired, leaning forward. "Anything at all?" an original report, an email, anything that shows the pressure or the cover-up. Ramirez hesitated again, his gaze darting around the room. I kept something, he confessed, his voice trembling. A copy of the original incident report from the Mateo case, the one they rewrote, and a few internal emails, directives about handling sensitive complaints. They were subtle, but you could read between the lines. I saved them because I knew it wasn't right. I've been sitting on them, terrified to come forward. But after what he did to that blind girl, I can't anymore. A wave of profound relief washed over Jenkins. This was the break they needed. Officer Ramirez, she said, her voice filled with a genuine admiration. You are doing the right thing. This takes incredible courage, and it will make all the difference. Ramirez produced a flash drive, hidden deep within his wallet. It's all on here, he said, pushing it across the desk. I copied them years ago, just in case. Jenkins immediately inserted the drive into her secure police laptop. The files were there, undeniable proof of Miller's systemic brutality and the department's complicity. The original Mateo Rodriguez report detailed a violent, unprovoked assault, not a struggle with a resisting teen. The emails, though subtly worded, revealed a clear directive to downplay incidents involving certain officers, a thinly veiled instruction to protect their own. Regardless of the truth, armed with this explosive evidence, Detective Jenkins knew she couldn't rely solely on the internal review process anymore. The evidence implicated Captain Davies, a powerful figure, and possibly even Chief Thompson himself. If she followed the usual chain of command, her findings might be suppressed, just like the previous complaints. She contacted Marcus Thorne. Marcus, this is Detective Jenkins. I have something important. Can you meet me discreetly? When they met later that day in a secluded park, far from any police vehicles or prying eyes, Jenkins laid out her findings. Marcus listened, his face grim, but his eyes gleaming with a journalist's fierce determination. This is huge. Detective, Marcus said, his voice low and serious after she had finished explaining. A pattern of abuse, a cover-up, involvement from high-ranking officers. This isn't just about Miller anymore. This is systemic corruption. Precisely, Jenkins affirmed. And I need your help to make sure this evidence sees the light of day. If I just submit it through department channels, there's a real risk it gets buried. They've done it before. Marcus nodded. We'll release it. Everything. We'll present it alongside Lily's story. It will hit like a bomb. The public will demand full accountability. The plan was set. Marcus would prepare a comprehensive expose, integrating the dashcam footage, Lily's testimony, and now, the damning evidence of Officer Miller's past misconduct and the department's cover-up, provided by the brave whistleblower, Officer Ramirez. The stage was set for a confrontation far bigger than just one rogue officer. It was about exposing a deeper rot, a betrayal of public trust that had festered in the shadows for years. Justice for Lily and Buster would be inextricably linked to a wider fight for transparency and accountability within the Willow Creek Police Department. And Detective Sarah Jenkins, a quiet, methodical woman, was about to become the unlikely force that brought it all to light, the digital world, a realm Lily navigated by ear and touch, erupted into a firestorm. Marcus Thorne, true to his word, dropped the bombshell, his independent platform. Truthwatch Investigations published a meticulously researched expose titled Beyond the Badge: Willow Creek's Hidden Abuse of Power. It wasn't just a news article. It was a multimedia experience. intricately weaving together the viral dashcam footage, Lily's harrowing firsthand account, and now, the explosive evidence provided by Detective Sarah Jenkins and the courageous whistleblower, Officer Ramirez. The raw video of Officer Miller's unprovoked attack on Lily and Buster was the undeniable centerpiece. It played on an endless loop, forcing viewers to confront the stark reality of the brutality below it. Marcus had embedded audio clips of Lily's emotional testimony, her trembling voice recounting the fear, the confusion, and the searing pain of watching her beloved dog suffer. Her words, so raw and authentic, resonated deeply, painting a vivid picture for those who only saw the visual. But it was the newly revealed evidence that truly set the internet ablaze. Marcus presented scans of the original, unredacted report from the Mateo Rodriguez case, starkly contrasting it with the sanitized version that had been officially filed. The details of Miller's previous, equally baseless assault on a deaf teenager, the injuries sustained, and the subsequent cover-up painted a chilling picture of a repeat offender shielded by a corrupt system, internal emails, subtle in their wording but damning in their implications, showed directives from Captain Davies about managing sensitive complaints and maintaining department unity, thinly veiled instructions to bury inconvenient truths. The public's reaction was immediate and ferocious. The initial outrage over Lily and Buster's incident was amplified 1,000-fold. The narrative shifted from a single rogue officer to a corrupt police department. Hashtags like Yishya systemic corruption and expose Willow Creek PD quickly overshadowed the previous ones, trending globally within hours. News anchors, who had initially reported the story with cautious neutrality, now spoke with palpable anger, dissecting the new revelations. Legal experts weighed in, decrying the blatant obstruction of justice. Disability advocacy groups, already vocal, became even more militant, organizing online petitions and real-world protests. For Lily, the days that followed were a whirlwind of media requests, albeit managed carefully by Marcus. She gave interviews remotely, her voice firm and clear, unwavering in her commitment to justice. She spoke not just for herself and Buster, but for Mateo, and for every other vulnerable person who had been silenced by power. Her honesty, coupled with her quiet strength, made her an incredibly compelling figure. Meanwhile, Buster, still recovering physically and emotionally, remained her rock. He would lie at her feet during interviews, his presence a comforting weight. Lily often found herself reaching down, stroking his fur, drawing strength from his unwavering loyalty. The bond they shared had always been profound, but this shared trauma had forged it into an unyielding steel within the Willow Creek Police Department. The revelations caused an earthquake. The carefully constructed facade of integrity crumbled under the weight of irrefutable evidence and overwhelming public condemnation. Chief Thompson, who had initially attempted to downplay the incident, now found himself under immense pressure. His generic statement of an internal review seemed laughably inadequate in the face of widespread allegations of a systemic cover-up. Captain Davies, the alleged orchestrator of the cover-up, was quickly suspended. Pending an immediate, independent investigation into his conduct, the department, desperate to regain public trust, was forced to bring in outside investigators to ensure impartiality. This was no longer an internal review. It was a full-blown criminal inquiry. Officer Miller, already on administrative leave, was now facing a litany of charges. Not only was he under investigation for assault and misconduct related to Lily and Buster, But the newly uncovered evidence brought fresh charges related to the Mateo Rodriguez case. The district attorney's office, under immense public scrutiny, announced they would pursue the charges with the full force of the law. The key to all of this, the unseen catalyst, was Officer Ramirez. After bravely coming forward to Detective Jenkins, he had been granted whistleblower protection. His testimony, combined with the irrefutable documents he had saved, provided the crucial link between Miller's individual brutality and the department's complicity. He became a reluctant hero, a man who, after years of silent anguish, chose integrity over loyalty. The community of Willow Creek, initially shocked, now rallied behind Lily with unprecedented fervor. Neighbors brought her meals, offered rides, and even organized a quiet vigil outside her home. A silent show of support. Banners and signs with messages like "We stand with Lily and Buster" and "No justice, no peace" appeared on lawns and businesses throughout the town. Lily felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude for this outpouring of support. It was a stark reminder that while individual acts of cruelty could inflict deep wounds, collective compassion had the power to heal and transform. She was not just a victim. She was a catalyst for change, and the community was rising with her. The investigation, now independent and public, moved swiftly. The external investigators meticulously combed through decades of police records, uncovering more instances of minor complaints dismissed, and a troubling culture where problematic officers were protected and dissenting voices stifled. It was a dark mirror reflecting a deep-seated problem. Chief Thompson, facing a no-confidence vote from within his own department and overwhelming pressure from the city council, ultimately announced his resignation, effective immediately. His departure was a symbolic victory, a clear sign that the department could no longer tolerate a culture of impunity. The story of Lily and Buster, initially a personal tragedy, had become a national conversation about police accountability, disability rights, and the power of truth in the digital age. It was a testament to the fact that even in the face of seemingly insurmountable power, integrity and courage, amplified by public outrage, could force profound change. Lily knew the fight wasn't over. Officer Miller still had to face trial, and the department still needed deeper, lasting reforms. But the first, most crucial battle had been won. The truth was out. The darkness had been exposed, and the light, guided by the unwavering loyalty of a service dog and the quiet courage of a blind woman, was now shining on Willow Creek, illuminating its hidden corners, demanding justice for all. She stood ready, Buster by her side, for whatever came next. The legal proceedings moved with a speed that surprised even seasoned observers. The overwhelming public outcry, the irrefutable dashcam footage, and the damning evidence provided by Officer Ramirez created an undeniable momentum. The district attorney's office, feeling the immense pressure of public opinion and the sheer weight of the evidence, prioritized the case. Officer John Miller was formally charged with assault, misconduct in office, and filing a false report. More significantly, historical charges related to the Mateo Rodriguez incident were reinstated, transforming a single act of brutality into a pattern of abuse. Lily, supported by Marcus Thorne and a growing team of pro bono lawyers from a prominent disability rights firm, became the prosecution's star witness. Her testimony, though delivered without the benefit of sight, was powerfully vivid, painting a picture that resonated deeply with the public and, crucially, with the potential jury. She recounted the morning with chilling precision, the distinct screech of tires, the aggressive tone of Officer Miller's voice, the fear she felt when he lunged at Buster, the sickening thud of the blows, and the terrifying disorientation of being left helpless and blind while her protector was being harmed. During her testimony, Buster was allowed to be in the courtroom, sitting quietly at her feet, a silent testament to his training and gentle nature. His presence underscored the injustice, making Miller's claims of an aggressive dog ring hollow and cruel. Lily spoke of their inseparable bond, of Buster's role not just as a guide, but as her emotional anchor, her unwavering source of comfort and independence. When she described the tenderness she felt as she examined Buster for injuries afterward, her voice choked with emotion. But her resolve remained unyielding. The defense, led by a highly paid and aggressive attorney, attempted to discredit Lily, painting her as overly sensitive, exaggerating the incident due to her vulnerability. They tried to portray Buster as unpredictable, a large dog that could be perceived as a threat. They even tried to suggest that Lily might have misinterpreted sounds or actions due to her blindness. But their arguments crumbled under the weight of the dashcam footage, which showed Miller as the clear aggressor, and the unwavering testimonies of the eyewitnesses. Marcus Thorne, the investigative journalist, also took the stand. He meticulously detailed how he obtained the footage, how he verified its authenticity, and how his platform had responsibly disseminated the information, leading to the public outcry. His testimony highlighted the importance of independent journalism in holding power accountable, reinforcing the public's trust in his reporting. But it was Officer Ramirez's testimony that truly sealed Miller's fate. Under oath, Ramirez, now formally recognized as a whistleblower, bravely recounted the Mateo Rodriguez incident, describing how Miller had assaulted the deaf teenager without provocation and how higher-ups, specifically Captain Davies, had orchestrated a cover-up. He produced the original, unredacted report and the internal emails that clearly showed a pattern of systemic protection for problematic officers. His voice, though nervous, was steady and sincere, lending immense credibility to his shocking revelations. He spoke of the guilt he had carried for years, and how Lily's case had finally given him the courage to expose the truth. The defense attorney tried desperately to impeach Ramirez's character, accusing him of disloyalty and seeking attention, but Ramirez's quiet dignity, combined with the irrefutable evidence he provided, made him appear as a man of conscience, not an opportunist. His testimony was a gut punch to the defense, exposing not just Miller's individual corruption, but a deeper rot within the department. The implications of Ramirez's testimony extended beyond Miller's trial. Captain Davies was immediately removed from his position and placed under criminal investigation himself for obstruction of justice and aiding in a cover-up. The chief of police, already forced to resign, faced further scrutiny regarding his knowledge of Davies's actions and the department's culture of impunity. The very foundations of the Willow Creek Police Department were being shaken to their core. The jury, visibly moved by the testimonies and presented with undeniable video and documentary evidence, deliberated for only a few hours. When the verdict was read, a collective gasp swept through the courtroom, followed by a wave of hushed relief. Guilty. Guilty on all counts. Assault, misconduct in office, filing a false report, and the charges related to the Mateo Rodriguez case. Officer John Miller, once untouchable, now stood exposed, his face pale and his arrogance stripped away. The public gallery erupted in a mixture of cheers and quiet sobs of relief. Lily, sitting beside Marcus, felt a profound weight lift from her shoulders. She reached down, her fingers finding Buster's head. He nudged into her hand, a soft, comforting presence. Justice. It had been served. The judge, in his sentencing, delivered a stern rebuke to Miller, condemning his abuse of power and betrayal of public trust. He emphasized the particular vulnerability of his victims and the serious damage his actions had done to the reputation of law enforcement. Officer John Miller was sentenced to a significant prison term, a clear message that such egregious misconduct would not be tolerated. The impact of the verdict rippled beyond the courtroom. It sent shockwaves through police departments nationwide, prompting discussions about accountability and the need for stricter oversight. It was hailed as a landmark case for disability rights, demonstrating that the vulnerable would not be silenced. For Lily, the end of the trial marked not just the triumph of justice, but the beginning of a new chapter. The fear that had gnawed at her since that fateful morning began to recede, replaced by a profound sense of peace. She had stood up to injustice, and she had won, and she hadn't done it alone. She visited Mateo Rodriguez, a quiet meeting facilitated by Marcus. Mateo, though still bearing the emotional scars of his own encounter with Miller, was immensely grateful for Lily's courage. He thanked her for bringing his own hidden truth to light, offering her a shy but genuine smile. Their shared experience forged an unexpected bond, a testament to the quiet power of solidarity in the face of adversity. The community of Willow Creek, united by the shared experience, felt a renewed sense of civic pride and commitment. The fall of Miller and the exposure of the department's corruption spurred genuine, widespread calls for reform. Task forces were formed, citizen oversight committees established, and conversations about de-escalation training and community policing gained unprecedented traction. Lily's story, amplified by Marcus Thorne's relentless reporting, became a national phenomenon. She and Buster were invited to speak at conferences, disability rights events, and even before legislative bodies. Lily, once a private individual, embraced her new role as an advocate. Her voice, once trembling with fear, now resonated with quiet power, inspiring countless others. Buster, of course, was celebrated as a hero. His name became synonymous with loyalty and courage. He received countless pats, treats, and even a medal from the local Humane Society for his bravery. More importantly, he healed. With Lily's patient care and the quiet comfort of their home, his playful spirit slowly returned. Their daily walks, once tinged with fear, were now filled with renewed joy. The familiar sounds of Willow Creek once again a symphony of comfort and peace. The path to justice had been arduous, fraught with fear and uncertainty. But the unwavering bond between a blind girl and her loyal service dog, combined with the courage of a whistleblower and the integrity of a journalist and a detective, had shone a powerful light into the darkest corners of injustice. And in that light, a new, more hopeful future began to emerge. The echoes of the courtroom verdict reverberated far beyond the walls of justice, sparking a chain reaction of profound and necessary changes for Lily. The immediate aftermath was a period of intense, yet welcome, adjustment. The constant media attention, while at times overwhelming, had also provided a powerful platform. She found herself no longer just a victim of injustice, but a powerful voice for change. The disability rights firm that had championed her case offered her a part-time position as a community liaison and advocate, It was a role that felt tailor-made for her, allowing her to leverage her lived experience to help others. She began by sharing her story at local community centers, then at regional conferences, and eventually on national platforms. Her eloquence, combined with her quiet strength and the undeniable presence of Buster by her side, captivated audiences. Lily's advocacy wasn't just about police accountability. It expanded to broader issues of accessibility and societal perceptions of disability. She spoke passionately about the importance of service animals, not as mere tools, but as vital partners who enabled independence and connection. She highlighted the often unseen struggles faced by visually impaired individuals, urging for greater empathy and understanding from the public and institutions alike. Her message was clear. Disability was not a limitation, but a different way of experiencing the world, and society needed to adapt to accommodate, not hinder. Buster, too, had settled into his new role as a public figure. He remained the calm, professional service dog. But now, with a touch of celebrity, children would flock to him after Lily's speeches, eager to pet the brave golden retriever. He received countless fan letters, often accompanied by drawings of him with his leash and harness, depicting him as the hero he truly was. The emotional trauma he had endured slowly faded, replaced by his natural joyous disposition. His tail wagged more freely, his barks were once again playful, and his daily walks with Lily were filled with the familiar, happy rhythm of their partnership. The tender bruise on his side had healed completely, a physical scar replaced by the invisible triumph of resilience. Meanwhile, the Willow Creek Police Department, stripped bare by the investigations, was forced to undergo a radical transformation, with Chief Thompson gone and Captain Davies facing his own criminal charges. A new interim chief, a woman named Alara Vance, was appointed. Chief Vance was an outsider, brought in specifically for her reputation as a reformer and her commitment to transparency. She was determined to purge the department of its old culture of impunity. Under Chief Vance's leadership, the department implemented sweeping reforms. Mandatory de-escalation training became paramount, emphasizing communication and nonviolent conflict resolution over physical force. Officers were required to undergo rigorous training on interacting with vulnerable populations, including those with disabilities and mental health challenges. This included extensive education on the legal rights and roles of service animals. A new civilian oversight board was established, giving community members a direct voice in police accountability. Complaints were now openly reviewed, investigations were transparent, and disciplinary actions were clearly communicated to the public. The department also introduced a body camera program for all patrol officers, a direct response to the undeniable power of Marcus Thorne's dashcam footage. The cameras were seen not as a tool of distrust, but as a means to protect both citizens and officers, ensuring accountability on all sides. Officer Ramirez, the brave whistleblower, was hailed as a hero within the reform department. Though he initially faced some ostracization from a few old guard officers, the vast majority, recognizing his courage, embraced him. He was promoted to a training officer, responsible for implementing the new de-escalation and sensitivity programs, ensuring that the lessons learned from Lily's case were deeply embedded into the department's future. His quiet integrity became a guiding light for younger officers, proving that true loyalty lay in upholding justice, not in protecting corrupt individuals. Marcus Thorne, the investigative journalist, saw his career soar. Truthwatch investigations gained national prominence, becoming a go-to source for in-depth, fearless reporting on abuses of power. He continued to follow Lily's story, documenting the reforms in Willow Creek and connecting them to broader national conversations. His work on the case earned him numerous journalism awards. But for Marcus, the real reward was seeing the tangible impact of his reporting on real lives. The ripple effect of Lily and Buster's story spread far beyond Willow Creek. Other police departments across the country began to reevaluate their own policies, implementing similar training programs and oversight mechanisms. Lawmakers introduced legislation aimed at strengthening protections for service animals and increasing police accountability. The incident, once a horrifying anomaly, became a catalyst for a nationwide re-examination of power, privilege, and public trust. For Lily, life found a new, meaningful rhythm. Her home, once a quiet sanctuary, was now a bustling hub of activity, filled with the warmth of newfound friendships and a sense of profound purpose. She continued to write, not just for advocacy, but for herself. She started a blog, sharing personal anecdotes about navigating the world as a blind individual, demystifying her experiences with humor and grace. It became incredibly popular, reaching a global audience and fostering a vibrant community of support. Buster remained her unwavering companion through it all. He was always there, a steady paw, a soft nudge, a reassuring presence that grounded her amidst the whirlwind of her new life. Their bond, forged in a moment of terrifying injustice, had become a testament to the enduring power of loyalty, love, and resilience. One quiet afternoon, months after the trial, Lily and Buster took their usual walk to Willow Creek Park. The sun was warm, the birds were singing, and the air carried the familiar scent of honeysuckle. As they approached the same intersection where the incident had occurred, Lily paused. She could feel the gentle breeze, hear the distant laughter of children. There was a different patrol car parked nearby, and a different officer on duty. She heard his footsteps approach, but this time they were light, unthreatening. "Good morning, Ms. Chen." A friendly, respectful voice greeted her. It was Officer Ramirez. "Beautiful day for a walk, isn't it?" Lily smiled, a genuine, untroubled smile. "It certainly is, Officer Ramirez. A very beautiful day indeed." Buster gave a soft, happy wag of his tail, sensing the peaceful exchange. The shadows of the past had truly lifted. Justice had not only been served, but it had cultivated a brighter, more accountable future, all sparked by the unwavering courage of a blind girl and her loyal canine service dog. The story of Lily and Buster, once confined to the quiet streets of Willow Creek, had now blossomed into a powerful national narrative. Reaching far beyond the initial shockwaves of the incident, Lily, with Marcus Thorne's unwavering support, found herself transitioning from an unwilling participant in a tragedy to a passionate and articulate advocate. Her quiet resilience, coupled with Buster's unwavering loyalty, resonated deeply with millions. She was invited to speak at the annual conference for the National Federation of the Blind, a prestigious event where her voice, once almost unheard outside her immediate community, commanded a room full of empathetic ears. Lily didn't use a script. She spoke from the heart, her words flowing with an authenticity that transcended any prepared remarks. She described the chilling fear of being attacked when her primary sense, touch, was compromised, and how Buster, despite his own terror, had bravely stood between her and the assailant. "My blindness," she explained to the hushed audience, her voice clear and strong, "has always meant I rely on trust. Trust in my senses. Trust in Buster. Trust in the good intentions of others. What Officer Miller did shattered that trust. Not just for me, but for every visually impaired person who relies on their guide dog, and for every citizen who expects protection, not aggression, from law enforcement. Her speech wasn't just a recounting of events, it was a call to action. She urged for mandatory, comprehensive training for all law enforcement officers on interacting with individuals with disabilities, emphasizing de-escalation techniques and the specific legal protections afforded to service animals. She also championed the need for accessible reporting mechanisms for misconduct, ensuring that no one, regardless of their sensory abilities, felt powerless to report injustice. The impact was immediate. Several national disability organizations publicly endorsed her proposals, launching campaigns to push for legislative changes. Lily found herself testifying before state legislative committees, patiently explaining the nuances of her experience, countering skepticism with logic and compelling personal anecdotes. Buster, always by her side, often served as a living example of the incredible bond between a person and their service dog. His calm demeanor melting even the sternest legislative faces. Beyond the formal advocacy, Lily also focused on healing and community building. She established a local support group for individuals with service animals, a safe space where they could share experiences, discuss challenges, and offer mutual encouragement. It quickly became a vibrant hub, fostering a sense of belonging and solidarity that had been missing for many. She also volunteered at a local animal shelter, helping to socialize puppies destined to become service animals, passing on the lessons she had learned about the profound connection between humans and their canine companions. Beaster, in turn, blossomed. The public attention, far from overwhelming him, seemed to reinforce his purpose. He loved being the center of attention, soaking up the affection he received everywhere they went. His playful spirit fully returned, often leading Lily on unexpected detours during their walks, pulling her gently towards the scent of a hidden squirrel or a friendly face he recognized. He even developed a fondness for interviews, often nudging his head into the microphone, as if offering his own silent commentary. His story was a tangible reminder of the resilience of animals and the profound impact they have on human lives. Meanwhile, the reforms in the Willow Creek Police Department continued under the guidance of Chief Alara Vance. Her commitment to transparency and accountability was unwavering. The new Civilian Oversight Board, with Mrs. Gable from the coffee shop as one of its most active members, held regular public meetings, inviting citizens to voice concerns and offering feedback on departmental policies. For the first time, community members felt truly heard and empowered. The introduction of body cameras for all patrol officers proved to be a critical step. Not only did it provide an objective record of encounters, but it also subtly altered officer behavior. Awareness of being recorded encouraged de-escalation and professional conduct, leading to a measurable decrease in citizen complaints. Officer Ramirez, now the lead training officer for the new initiatives, played a pivotal role in embedding these changes into the department's culture. He developed realistic simulation training scenarios, complete with actors portraying individuals with various disabilities, ensuring officers understood how to respond appropriately and empathetically. The impact of Lily's case even extended to legal education. Law schools began incorporating Lily Chen v. Officer Miller into their curriculum as a case study in civil rights, police misconduct, and the intersection of disability law. It provided a powerful example of how ordinary citizens, armed with truth and tenacity, could dismantle systemic injustices. Marcus Thorne's Truth Watch investigations continued to thrive, becoming a nationally recognized platform for in-depth investigative journalism. He received numerous awards for his work, but his most cherished recognition came from Lily herself. Their initial professional relationship had evolved into a deep and respectful friendship. Marcus often visited Lily and Buster, not for interviews, but simply to share a cup of coffee and enjoy their quiet company. He continued to use his platform to highlight similar stories of injustice, drawing inspiration from Lily's unwavering spirit. One particular moment stood out for Lily during this period of intense growth and advocacy. She was invited to speak at a national conference for law enforcement, a deeply ironic yet profoundly significant invitation. She stood before a room full of police chiefs, officers, and policymakers, many of whom had initially dismissed her story as an isolated incident. She began by recalling the sounds of that morning, the screech of tires, the aggressive voice, the thud of Buster being struck. She spoke of the fear, the betrayal, but then she shifted. She spoke of Officer Ramirez's courage, of Detective Jenkins's integrity, of Chief Vance's commitment to reform. "This is not about being anti-police," Lily declared, her voice resonating with conviction. "This is about demanding that those who wield immense power are held to the highest standards. It is about fostering trust between communities and the officers who serve them. It is about acknowledging that mistakes happen, but that cover-ups and unchecked aggression can destroy the very fabric of society." She concluded by emphasizing the transformative power of accountability, the healing that came from true justice, and the hope that could emerge from even the darkest of moments. As she finished, the room, initially filled with a quiet tension, erupted into a standing ovation. It was a powerful moment of reconciliation and a testament to the fact that even profound breaches of trust could be repaired through honesty, courage, and a shared commitment to a better future. For Lily, the journey from victim to advocate was arduous, but profoundly fulfilling. She had found her purpose, not despite her blindness, but because of the unique perspective it afforded her, and in Buster, her loyal, brave, and endlessly loving companion. She found the unwavering strength and joy to continue her fight, illuminating the path forward for countless others. Their story, a testament to resilience and justice, had truly shocked everyone, not just with its initial horror, but with its ultimate, inspiring triumph. The journey of systemic reform is rarely linear, often marked by setbacks and resistance, even in the wake of overwhelming public pressure. While Willow Creek had made remarkable strides, the broader landscape of justice and disability rights continued to present significant challenges. Lily, now a prominent advocate, understood this acutely. Her experiences had opened her eyes not just to the overt acts of injustice, but to the subtle, ingrained biases and lack of understanding that permeated many institutions. One of Lily's primary focuses became the dissemination of best practices learned from Willow Creek's reform efforts. She and Marcus Thorne collaborated on a series of online workshops and webinars aimed at police departments and community leaders nationwide. These sessions weren't just theoretical. They featured compelling testimonials from Officer Ramirez, who shared practical insights on implementing de-escalation techniques, and from Chief Vance, who spoke candidly about the difficulties and ultimate rewards of fostering a culture of accountability. However, not all communities were as receptive as Willow Creek. Lily encountered resistance from departments that viewed increased oversight as an attack on their authority, and from officials who felt that disability sensitivity training was an unnecessary burden. There were still incidents reported in other parts of the country where service animals were denied access or their handlers faced discrimination. Lily used these stories, too, as fuel for her advocacy, highlighting the ongoing need for vigilance and legislative action. Her work also delved deeper into the psychological impact of trauma on both victims and service animals. Working with therapists specializing in animal-assisted therapy, Lily helped develop resources for individuals whose service animals had experienced traumatic events. She knew firsthand the subtle shifts in Buster's behavior after the attack, and how vital it was to address those emotional wounds for the well-being of both handler and animal. Buster, in his resilient recovery, became a living example of the success of these methods, demonstrating that with patience and love, even profound fears could be overcome. He frequently participated in these workshops, his calm, reassuring presence often more impactful than any spoken word. The legal fallout from the Willow Creek incident continued to unfold. While Officer Miller was serving his sentence, Captain Davies' trial for obstruction of justice and aiding in a cover-up proved to be a more protracted affair. The defense argued that Davies was merely following departmental protocol and attempting to maintain order during turbulent times. However, Officer Ramirez's testimony, bolstered by the irrefutable evidence he had preserved, remained the cornerstone of the prosecution's case. The emails, the original Mateo Rodriguez report, and Ramirez's sincere recount of the pressure he faced, painted a damning picture. During Davies' trial, the defense attorneys tried to paint Officer Ramirez as a disgruntled employee, a betrayer of his colleagues. They hammered at his motivations, suggesting he was seeking personal glory or a promotion. But Ramirez, guided by Detective Jenkins's quiet support, remained steadfast. His simple, honest answers, devoid of embellishment, chipped away at the defense's manufactured narrative. He emphasized that his only motivation was to uphold the oath he took to serve and protect. An oath he felt was betrayed by the actions of Miller and those who enabled him. The trial was widely covered by national news, with Marcus Thorne providing expert commentary and real-time analysis. He highlighted the systemic implications of the case, emphasizing that a conviction for Davies would send a powerful message to police leadership across the nation that complicity in misconduct would no longer be tolerated. The verdict, when it came, was another resounding victory for justice. Captain Davies was found guilty of obstruction of justice and aiding in a cover-up. The sentence, while not as long as Miller's, was significant, ensuring that a high-ranking officer would face severe consequences for perpetuating a culture of impunity. This conviction was arguably even more impactful than Miller's, as it demonstrated that the roots of corruption could be severed even at higher echelons of power. This second conviction galvanized the reform movement. It provided tangible proof that accountability wasn't just for the frontline officers, but extended to those in leadership positions. Cities that had been hesitant to implement oversight boards or body camera programs now faced renewed calls from their citizens and even internal pressure from officers who were tired of the bad apples tarnishing their profession. Lily and Buster became even more sought after. They were invited to the White House for a special recognition ceremony, honoring their courage and the impact they had made on disability rights and police reform. Standing beside the president, with Buster proudly at her feet, Lily delivered a brief but poignant speech, emphasizing the power of ordinary citizens to effect extraordinary change. She spoke of hope, resilience, and the unwavering belief that a more just and equitable society was always within reach. The story of Lily and Buster was also adapted into a documentary film. produced by a renowned filmmaker captivated by their journey. The film, titled Unseen Truth, chronicled the initial attack, Marcus Thorne's swift investigative journalism, Detective Jenkins's quiet integrity, Officer Ramirez's bravery, and the ensuing legal battles and reforms. It included interviews with all key players, and, most powerfully, candid moments of Lily and Buster navigating their daily lives, showcasing the profound impact of their bond and Lily's unwavering spirit. The film premiered to critical acclaim, winning numerous awards and further solidifying their legacy. Amidst all the public appearances and advocacy work, Lily remained grounded in her personal life. She continued her pottery, finding solace and creative expression in shaping clay with her hands. She often gifted her creations to those who had supported her, each piece imbued with gratitude and resilience. Her home remained a place of peace, a sanctuary from the often demanding public eye, and always, at the heart of it all, was Buster. He was her constant, her anchor. He would sit by her side as she wrote speeches, rest his head on her lap during interviews, and guide her with unwavering confidence through crowded airports and bustling city streets. Their bond, which had faced the ultimate test, was now a powerful symbol of loyalty and enduring love. One evening, as Lily sat on her porch swing, the familiar scent of Mrs. Henderson's honeysuckle drifting on the breeze, she leaned down to scratch Buster behind the ears. He sighed contentedly, resting his head on her knee. The world was still a symphony of sounds and textures for Lily, but now it felt more harmonious, less threatening. The darkness of that fateful morning had given way to a profound light, illuminating not just the path to justice, but also the boundless capacity for good in humanity. The fight continued, but Lily knew, with Buster by her side, they would face it together. The documentary film, Unseen Truth, was more than just a recounting of the Willow Creek incident. It was a deeply moving exploration of trust, betrayal, and the profound resilience of the human-animal bond. Directed by acclaimed independent filmmaker Clara Vance, no relation to Chief Alara Vance, the film utilized a powerful blend of Marcus Thorne's raw dashcam footage, Lily's eloquent voiceovers, and candid, intimate moments captured between Lily and Buster in their daily lives. The film opened with the jarring, unedited sequence of Officer Miller's attack, forcing viewers into the immediate, visceral experience of the event. The silence that followed was broken by Lily's voice, not in anger, but in a quiet, reflective tone, describing her world before the incident, a world navigated by sound, touch, and the unwavering guidance of Buster. Through Lily's narration, the audience was invited into the unique sensory landscape of a blind person, fostering a profound sense of empathy that made the subsequent betrayal by an authority figure even more harrowing. Clara Vance had a particular gift for drawing out the emotional core of her subjects, and Unseen Truth was no exception. The documentary didn't just focus on the legal battles, it meticulously chronicled Buster's recovery, showing him flinching at unexpected noises, the patient, loving way Lily comforted him, and the slow, gradual return of his playful spirit. These tender moments underscored the deep emotional scars left by the trauma, reminding viewers that the victims were not just abstract figures, but living, feeling beings. Interviews with Marcus Thorne provided the journalistic backbone, explaining the steps he took to verify the footage and the immediate public reaction. Detective Sarah Jenkins offered a compelling inside look at the internal investigation, her calm, meticulous demeanor highlighting her integrity as she uncovered the departmental cover-up. Perhaps most impactful for many viewers were the interviews with Officer Ramirez, the whistleblower, his tearful confession of guilt for his past silence, and his brave decision to finally come forward, resonated deeply, speaking to the moral courage it takes to confront corruption within one's own ranks. The film also highlighted the community's extraordinary response, footage of the vigils, the supportive messages, and the unwavering solidarity shown by Willow Creek residents demonstrated the power of collective action. Mrs. Henderson, Lily's kind neighbor, spoke eloquently about the love and respect the community held for Lily and Buster, and their collective determination to see justice served. Unseen Truth premiered at a major international film festival, where it received a standing ovation and immediately garnered critical acclaim. Reviewers lauded its raw honesty, its compelling narrative, and its powerful message. It quickly gained distribution, first in independent cinemas, then on streaming platforms, reaching a massive global audience. The impact of the film was profound. It ignited new conversations in living rooms and online forums about police accountability, systemic biases, and the treatment of individuals with disabilities, for many. It was their first exposure to the intricacies of service animal laws and the daily challenges faced by the visually impaired. It spurred numerous independent journalists to investigate similar incidents in their own communities, leading to a cascade of new revelations and reform efforts. Lily and Buster, already public figures, found their advocacy amplified by the film's reach. They were invited to participate in Q&A sessions after screenings, engaging directly with audiences, answering questions, and further spreading their message. Lily often found herself speaking to young children who, after watching the film, wanted to know how they could be allies to people with disabilities and how to treat service animals with respect. These interactions, she found, were some of the most rewarding, sowing the seeds of empathy in a new generation. In the aftermath of the film's success, Lily's own personal writing took a new turn, inspired by the documentary and her expanded platform. She began drafting a memoir. It wasn't just a chronological account of the incident, but a deeper exploration of her life with blindness, her relationship with Buster, and her unexpected journey into activism. She wanted to share the beauty and richness of her sensory world, to challenge preconceived notions about disability, and to empower others to find their voice against injustice. She wrote about the unique sounds of her home, the tactile joy of pottery, the profound comfort of Buster's presence, transforming her personal experiences into universal themes of resilience and connection. Buster, of course, was always by her side during her writing process. He would lie under her desk, his soft snores a comforting rhythm, or rest his head on her lap as she typed on her specialized Braille keyboard. He was her constant muse, his unwavering presence a testament to the powerful, unspoken bond that transcended sight. The film also sparked a significant increase in donations to service animal organizations and disability rights groups. People, moved by Lily and Buster's story, wanted to contribute to ensuring that such incidents never happened again. These funds helped expand training programs for service animals, provide legal aid to victims of discrimination, and support advocacy efforts for stronger legislative protections, even within law enforcement circles. Unseen Truth prompted uncomfortable but necessary self-reflection. While some departments initially resisted the film's message, many forward-thinking police academies began to incorporate it into their training curricula. They used it as a case study to discuss de-escalation, bias training, and the critical importance of understanding community needs, particularly those of vulnerable populations. Chief Alara Vance of Willow Creek often participated in these discussions, providing context and sharing the department's journey of reform. The legacy of Unseen Truth was not just in exposing a past injustice, but in actively shaping a more just future. It served as a powerful reminder that while the road to true systemic change is long and arduous, the courage of a few, amplified by media and the unwavering pursuit of truth, can move mountains. Lily and Buster, the quiet heroes of Willow Creek, had, through their harrowing experience and subsequent bravery, truly shown the world the profound power of an unseen truth to shock, to inspire, and ultimately, to transform. Their story became a beacon, a living testament to the idea that even in the face of profound adversity, justice, compassion, and resilience would ultimately prevail. The journey to profound societal change is rarely a straight line. It often involves tackling deeply ingrained prejudices that extend beyond the blatant acts of injustice. Lily's advocacy, while impactful in law enforcement circles, began to confront a more insidious challenge: the subtle yet pervasive discrimination faced by individuals with disabilities in everyday life. Even after the high-profile trial and the success of Unseen Truth, Lily and other service animal handlers would still occasionally face refusal of service at businesses, or endure skeptical stares and invasive questions. Some people, despite legal mandates, simply didn't understand the vital role of a service animal, or worse, viewed them as pets, not legitimate medical aids. Lily decided to address this head-on. She launched the CB On Site campaign, a grassroots initiative aimed at educating the public on disability etiquette, the legal rights of service animals, and the importance of creating truly inclusive communities. Marcus Thorne's TruthWatch investigations provided invaluable support. Designing compelling public service announcements and educational materials that resonated with a broad audience, the campaign utilized accessible formats, audio descriptions for videos, braille pamphlets, and large print infographics. Lily, with Buster by her side, became the face of the movement. They visited schools, giving presentations to children about how Buster helped her navigate the world, demystifying blindness and fostering empathy from a young age. Buster, always a hit, would demonstrate his skills, retrieving dropped items, guiding Lily through mock obstacles, and charming everyone with his gentle nature. One particular incident solidified the campaign's impact. Lily and Buster were attempting to enter a small, independent grocery store in a neighboring town that had not yet embraced the reforms of Willow Creek. The owner, a gruff man, immediately blocked their path. "No dogs allowed, Missy," he declared, his voice firm. Lily, accustomed to this, calmly explained, "Sir, this is a service animal. He's legally allowed to accompany me. He's my eyes." "Don't care," the owner retorted, crossing his arms. "Health code, no animals." A small crowd began to gather, recognizing Lily from the news and the documentary. Lily took a deep breath. This was a teachable moment. "I understand your concern about hygiene, sir," Lily said, her voice clear and measured. "But service animals are not pets. They are highly trained medical equipment. Denying access to a service animal is against the law, specifically the Americans with Disabilities Act." The owner scoffed. "And how do I know it's a real service dog? Anyone can put a vest on a mutt." Before Lily could respond, a voice from the crowd spoke up. "That's Lily Chen, the woman from the news. And that's Buster. He was attacked by a police officer because of people like you." Another voice added, "Yeah, didn't you watch Unseen Truth? Service dogs are protected." The owner, visibly flustered by the sudden public attention and the mention of the documentary. Hesitated, Lily, sensing her advantage, continued. Sir, my dog is wearing his official service dog vest and harness. He's trained to assist me with navigation and safety. If you deny us entry, I will have no choice but to report this violation. The owner, defeated by the mounting pressure and the potential for a public relations nightmare, begrudgingly stepped aside. Fine, fine. Just keep it on a leash, he grumbled. Lily entered the store, Buster guiding her smoothly. But this small victory spurred her to intensify the See Beyond Sight campaign. They organized flash mobs in front of businesses known for discrimination, held public forums, and even worked with local law schools to offer pro bono legal assistance to individuals facing access issues. The campaign's efforts, combined with the lingering impact of the Miller Davies trials, began to shift public perception. Business owners, fearing negative publicity and legal action, became more compliant. More importantly, awareness grew organically within communities. Children who had met Buster at school educated their parents. Neighbors reminded each other of the importance of respecting service animals. The simple act of understanding led to widespread changes in behavior beyond the public education. Lily also focused on advocating for legislative enhancements. She argued for stronger enforcement mechanisms, for existing disability laws, and for the allocation of federal grants to support police departments in implementing robust disability awareness training. She partnered with lawmakers who championed these causes, becoming a trusted advisor on policy that truly met the needs of the visually impaired community. Her work even extended to the technological realm, recognizing the potential for innovation. Lily collaborated with tech companies to develop more intuitive and accessible navigation apps for visually impaired individuals. Using advanced sensory feedback and AI-powered environmental descriptions, she also advised on the design of smart city initiatives, ensuring that urban planning incorporated features like tactile paving, audible crosswalk signals, and did accessible public transportation from the outset. Not as afterthoughts, Buster, now fully recovered from his trauma, remained her joyous and steadfast companion throughout all of these endeavors. He seemed to intuitively understand the importance of their work. During Lily's speeches, he would lie patiently at her feet, occasionally letting out a soft, contented sigh. When they met with policymakers, he would subtly lean against Lily's leg, a reassuring warmth that grounded her. He was more than a service dog. He was a partner in a mission, a living embodiment of the trust and understanding they sought to cultivate in the world. The long shadow of Officer Miller's attack had receded, replaced by the bright light of a movement for justice and inclusion. Lily Chen, once a private individual living a quiet life, had become an unlikely but immensely effective force for good. Her blindness, once seen by some as a limitation, had become a unique lens through which she viewed the world, allowing her to identify gaps and champion solutions that others might overlook. The Willow Creek incident, initially a story of brutality and betrayal, had blossomed into a profound narrative of transformation. It was a testament to the fact that even the most painful experiences could be catalysts for meaningful change, and that the quiet courage of individuals, amplified by public awareness, could truly reshape society, building a future where everyone, regardless of their abilities, felt safe, respected, and truly seen. The success of the See Beyond Sight campaign and the far-reaching impact of the Unseen Truth documentary created an unprecedented wave of positive change. Lily and Buster's story became a powerful touchstone, inspiring individuals and organizations to reassess their own biases and strive for greater inclusivity. Yet, even as their influence grew, Lilly understood that true progress was measured not just in legislative victories or viral campaigns, but in the quiet, daily transformations within communities and individual hearts. One of the most heartwarming outcomes was the establishment of the Lilly and Buster Foundation. Conceived by Marcus Thorne and a group of dedicated philanthropists, the foundation's mission was twofold: to provide legal aid and advocacy for individuals with disabilities facing discrimination, particularly involving service animals, and to fund specialized training programs for law enforcement on disability awareness and de-escalation techniques. The overwhelming public support, fueled by the documentary's emotional impact, translated into substantial donations, allowing the foundation to begin its crucial work immediately. Lilly became the foundation's honorary chair. Though she was deeply involved in its strategic direction, she personally vetted many of the legal cases the foundation took on, ensuring that resources were directed to those most in need. She also played a key role in designing the curriculum for the police training programs, emphasizing experiential learning and empathy-building exercises. Officers were not just lectured. They engaged in simulated scenarios where they had to navigate spaces blindfolded or communicate with individuals who were deaf, fostering a deeper understanding of the challenges faced by those with different abilities. Officer Ramirez, having left the police force with an honorable discharge, became a full-time consultant for the Lilly and Buster Foundation. His intimate knowledge of police culture and training methodologies proved invaluable. He developed modules that specifically addressed the us versus them mentality that sometimes pervaded law enforcement, promoting instead a community-centric approach rooted in trust and mutual respect. His presence lent immense credibility to the Foundation's police outreach efforts, as he spoke from direct experience about the dangers of unchecked power and the transformative potential of ethical policing. The Foundation's legal team, comprising passionate civil rights attorneys, successfully litigated several high-profile cases across the country. They secured landmark rulings that strengthened service animal access laws, ensured proper accommodations for individuals with disabilities in public spaces, and held discriminatory businesses accountable, each victory, however small, built upon the legacy of Lilly and Buster, sending a clear message that discrimination would no longer be tolerated. Buster, now recognized globally, continued to be Lilly's constant companion and the Foundation's unofficial mascot. He attended every event, his calm demeanor and wagging tail a source of comfort and joy. He was no longer just Lilly's eyes. He was a living embodiment of the Foundation's message of trust, loyalty, and unwavering support. Children, inspired by his story, often held lemonade stands and bake sales to raise money for the Lilly and Buster Foundation, eager to contribute to the cause of their four-legged hero. Lilly also found profound personal healing through her continued advocacy. The act of turning her trauma into a force for good was incredibly therapeutic. The lingering anxiety from the attack slowly dissipated, replaced by a sense of empowerment. She still cherished her quiet moments at home with Buster, but now they were imbued with a deeper sense of purpose and gratitude. Her memoir, A Symphony of Senses, My Journey with Buster, was published to widespread critical acclaim. It wasn't just a tale of injustice. It was a beautifully written narrative about living without sight, the profound bond with her service dog, and the unexpected path to becoming an advocate. The book offered a unique perspective on the world, inviting readers to experience it through Lilly's heightened senses, making the unseen visible in a way that resonated deeply. It became a bestseller, further spreading her message and cementing her legacy as a powerful voice for change. The Willow Creek Police Department, under Chief Vance, continued to serve as a national model for police reform. Their Civilian Oversight Board actively engaged with the community. Their body camera program had reduced complaints significantly, and their robust training initiatives were being emulated by other departments. The spirit of Officer Miller and Captain Davies, which once cast a long, dark shadow over the department, had been thoroughly expunged, replaced by an ethos of community partnership and ethical conduct. One particularly poignant moment occurred during a joint Lilly and Buster Foundation and Willow Creek Police Department event, an evening of community trust held in Willow Creek Park, the very place where the attack had happened. It was a celebration of progress and healing. Lilly, standing on a makeshift stage with Buster at her side, addressed a large crowd of townspeople and uniformed officers. "Less than 2 years ago, this park became a place of fear for me," Lilly began, her voice clear and resonant. "A place where the trust I had placed in authority was brutally betrayed. But today, this park is a symbol of hope. It is a testament to what can happen when a community unites, when good people refuse to stay silent, and when institutions are willing to look inward and embrace change." She spoke of the resilience of Buster, the courage of Officer Ramirez, the integrity of Detective Jenkins, and the vision of Chief Vance. She acknowledged the officers in the crowd who were now committed to a new way of policing, and she thanked the community for their unwavering support. "The work is not over," Lilly concluded, her hand resting gently on Buster's head. "But tonight, we celebrate how far we've come. We celebrate the truth that came to light and the justice that prevailed, and we rededicate ourselves to building a world where every person, regardless of their abilities, can walk freely, safely, and with full trust, knowing that their rights and their dignity will be protected." As she finished, the park erupted in applause, a wave of emotion sweeping through the crowd. Uniformed officers exchanged nods of respect with community members. It was a tangible demonstration of trust rebuilt, of a community healed, and of a future shaped by the lessons of a painful past. Lilly, with Buster's warm presence beside her, felt a profound sense of peace. Their journey, born from a moment of shocking injustice, had indeed shocked everyone, not just with its initial horror, but with its ultimate, inspiring triumph over adversity, culminating in a legacy of lasting positive change. The years that followed the Willow Creek incident, the trials, the documentary, and the establishment of the Lilly and Buster Foundation solidified a legacy far greater than Lilly had ever imagined. Her life, once defined by the quiet rhythm of her senses and the unwavering presence of her service dog, now expanded into a vibrant tapestry of advocacy, education, and profound personal fulfillment. The initial shock and horror of the attack had fully transformed into a powerful, enduring beacon of hope. Lilly continued her role as a prominent advocate, but her work evolved beyond reacting to injustices to proactively shaping policy and perception. She became a sought-after speaker for police academies nationwide, often with Buster by her side, demonstrating the profound impact of empathy and de-escalation. These engagements were vital, allowing her to connect directly with future officers, sharing her story not as an accusation, but as a lesson in the power of ethical policing. She emphasized the critical difference between authority and authoritarianism, and how a badge carried with it an immense responsibility to protect, not to terrorize. Her memoir, A Symphony of Senses. My Journey with Buster continued to resonate, becoming required reading in many diversity and inclusion courses in universities. Its nuanced exploration of life with blindness, the symbiotic relationship with a service animal, and the fight for justice offered a unique and invaluable perspective. The book sparked countless conversations, prompting readers to reflect on their own biases and to challenge societal norms that inadvertently marginalized individuals with disabilities. Lily often received letters from readers, both sighted and visually impaired, sharing how her story had opened their eyes, inspired them to pursue advocacy, or simply given them a renewed sense of hope. The Lily and Buster Foundation flourished under its dedicated leadership. Officer Ramirez, now an indispensable part of the team, expanded the police training programs, developing innovative modules that focused on implicit bias recognition and the importance of community engagement. He also initiated a mentorship program, connecting newly trained officers with experienced community advocates, including Lily herself, to foster ongoing dialogue and build lasting relationships. The Foundation's legal team, led by brilliant civil rights attorneys, continued to fight for the rights of disabled individuals, securing victories that not only provided redress for victims, but also set crucial legal precedents. One of the Foundation's most impactful initiatives was the Buster's Paw Prints program. This initiative provided financial assistance to families of visually impaired individuals who needed service dogs but couldn't afford the rigorous training and care required. Each dog graduated with a special Buster's Paw Prints tag, a symbol of hope and the legacy of the golden retriever who had endured so much. Lily took immense joy in meeting the recipients of these dogs, witnessing firsthand the transformative power of the human-animal bond, a bond that mirrored her own with Buster. Buster, in his elder years, remained Lily's faithful companion. Though his pace had slowed slightly, his golden fur, once vibrant, was now streaked with distinguished silver around his muzzle. He still loved his walks, albeit shorter ones, and continued to charm everyone he met. His presence in Lily's life remained the constant, comforting anchor, a silent testament to enduring love and unwavering loyalty. He would still occasionally nudge her hand when she seemed stressed, or rest his head on her lap during moments of quiet contemplation, reminding her of the simple joys amidst her busy advocacy. Their story, however, was not without its continuous evolution. Marcus Thorne, ever the vigilant journalist, continued to monitor the long-term effects of the reforms in Willow Creek. He published follow-up articles, showcasing the sustained positive changes within the police department and the lasting trust that had been rebuilt within the community. He noted a marked decrease in citizen complaints, an increase in community engagement, and a renewed sense of pride among officers. Willow Creek became a case study in successful police reform, proving that genuine change was possible, even in the most challenging circumstances. Lily and Marcus's friendship deepened over the years. They often reflected on the serendipity of that morning, the unexpected brutal encounter that had ignited a movement. Their collaboration, born out of crisis, had become a powerful partnership for justice. Marcus, through his lens and words, continued to amplify Lily's voice, ensuring her message reached the broadest possible audience. As Lily entered a new phase of her life, her focus subtly shifted from the immediate aftermath of injustice to the proactive creation of an equitable future. She championed initiatives for universal design in public spaces, advocating for cities to be built with accessibility in mind from the ground up, not as an afterthought. This included accessible transit systems, tactile maps, and smart technologies that could enhance independent living for individuals with diverse abilities. She also became a passionate advocate for disability representation in media and leadership roles. She believed that for true inclusion to occur, society needed to see, hear, and understand the perspectives of disabled individuals in all facets of life. She mentored young disabled individuals aspiring to careers in law, journalism, and public service, empowering them to become the next generation of leaders. The indelible mark left by Officer Miller's attack had faded into the background, replaced by a vibrant legacy of triumph. Lily and Buster, the blind girl and her canine service dog, had not only sought and found justice, but had also become catalysts for a ripple effect of compassion, understanding, and systemic change that touched countless lives. Their stories served as a powerful reminder that out of moments of profound darkness, incredible light could emerge, guiding the way to a more just and inclusive world for all. They proved that true strength wasn't just in overcoming adversity, but in transforming it into a force for enduring good. Years turned into decades, and the story of Lily Chen and Buster transcended from a viral sensation to an enduring legend. The shocking incident in Willow Creek, once a painful scar, had blossomed into the very foundation of a profound movement for justice, empathy, and systemic change. Lily, now in her golden years, remained a serene yet powerful presence, her wisdom honed by a lifetime of advocacy, always with Buster, or his successor, by her side. Buster, the brave golden retriever, had passed peacefully in his sleep years earlier, leaving a profound void in Lily's life that was eventually filled by Buster too, a playful, intelligent Labrador who carried on his namesake's legacy with equal loyalty and spirit. Buster 2. A graduate of the Buster's Paw Prints program, was a testament to the enduring impact of the foundation named in his predecessor's honor. He inherited not only the name, but the quiet dignity and unwavering companionship that had defined the original Buster. The Lily and Buster Foundation continued its vital work, expanding its reach internationally, its police training programs, now a gold standard, were adopted by law enforcement agencies across continents, fostering a global shift towards community-centric policing and disability awareness. Officer Ramirez, now a respected figure in police reform, led these international initiatives, his personal story of redemption inspiring countless officers to embrace ethical practices. The Foundation's legal victories continued to shape jurisprudence, ensuring that the rights of individuals with disabilities and their service animals were not just protected on paper, but enforced in practice. Lily's memoir, A Symphony of Senses, became a classic, translated into dozens of languages and inspiring generations. It was adapted into educational curricula, not just in disability studies, but in psychology, ethics, and even urban planning, demonstrating the far-reaching implications of inclusive design. Universities established Lily Chen Fellowships for students pursuing careers in civil rights and disability advocacy, ensuring her legacy lived on through future leaders. Willow Creek itself remained a shining example of successful police reform. Chief Elara Vance, who retired after a distinguished career, left behind a department widely regarded as one of the most progressive and community-focused in the nation. The Civilian Oversight Board remained active and influential, and the relationship between the police and the community was characterized by trust, mutual respect, and open dialogue. Children growing up in Willow Creek learned about the importance of service animals and disability rights as part of their elementary school curriculum, ensuring a more inclusive generation. The ripples of their story even reached the highest echelons of government. Federal legislation, often referred to as the Buster's Law, was enacted, strengthening protections for service animals, imposing harsher penalties for individuals who harmed them, and mandating comprehensive disability awareness training for all federal law enforcement agencies. This was a direct result of Lily's tireless advocacy, her voice a consistent, unwavering call for justice and understanding. Lily, in her later years, cherished her quieter moments. She spent more time in her garden, her hands expertly tending to the soil, feeling the warmth of the sun on her face, and listening to the symphony of nature that had always been her comfort. Buster, too, would often lie at her feet, his gentle snores a soothing presence. She found profound joy in the simple rhythms of life, knowing that her public work had laid the groundwork for a more just world. She often hosted informal gatherings at her home, inviting young advocates, aspiring journalists, and new police recruits. These evenings were filled with laughter, shared stories, and insightful discussions. Lily would impart wisdom, not through lectures, but through gentle anecdotes and thoughtful questions, guiding the next generation to carry the torch of justice. She spoke of the importance of empathy, the ability to truly understand another's experience, even if vastly different from your own. She emphasized patience, knowing that true systemic change was a marathon, not a sprint, and above all, she spoke of courage, the quiet courage to speak truth to power, to stand up for the vulnerable, and to never give up on the belief that a better world was possible. Marcus Thorne, now a highly respected media executive and founder of a National Investigative Journalism Institute, remained a cherished friend. He would visit Lily regularly, and they would often sit on her porch swing, reminiscing about the whirlwind of their journey. He would describe the subtle changes he saw in society, the growing acceptance, the increased understanding, and the direct impact of their shared mission. He often said that Lily and Booster's story was the most important he had ever covered, not just because of the injustice, but because of the incredible triumph that followed. One crisp autumn afternoon, decades after the initial incident, Lily, with Buster too by her side, took her customary walk through Willow Creek Park. The path, once a scene of terror, was now a place of profound peace. She could hear the familiar laughter of children, the gentle murmur of conversations, and the distant splash of the fountain. She paused at the very spot where Officer Miller had confronted her. She closed her eyes, not to emphasize her blindness, but to fully immerse herself in the sensory memory of the moment. Now transformed, she could feel the gentle breeze, hear the rustle of leaves, smell the damp earth. The echoes of fear had been replaced by the comforting sounds of a thriving, inclusive community. A small child, recognizing her from her photographs and the stories, cautiously approached with her parent. "Are you Lily?" the child whispered, awe in her voice. "And is that Buster?" Lily smiled, a warm, genuine smile that crinkled the corners of her eyes. "Yes, dear, I am Lily, and this is Buster." The child, emboldened, reached out a hand and gently patted Buster too, who responded with a soft wag of his tail. "My teacher told us your story," the child said. "She said you showed everyone how important it is to be kind and to stand up for what's right." Lily's heart swelled. This was her legacy. Not just the laws passed or the trials won, but the quiet, profound impact on the next generation, instilling in them the values of empathy, justice, and courage as the sun began to set, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple. Lily continued her walk, Buster too leading her home. The world was still full of challenges, but the path ahead was clearer, illuminated by the light of a truth that had once been unseen. The story of a police attack on a blind girl and her canine service dog had indeed shocked everyone, not just with its initial brutality, but with the unforeseen, inspiring, and enduring triumph of justice, compassion, and the indomitable human and animal spirit. It was a story that would continue to resonate, a testament to the profound ripple effect of courage, and the unwavering belief that even in the face of profound adversity, light would always, eventually, prevail.